What's your name?
My name is Maryna.
It's good to meet you. Thanks for coming to the show and being willing and open to talk about something that's really difficult like money. I'm really excited to get into it with you and see how I can help.
It is very personal.
It is very personal. What do you do for work?
I do currently full-time acting and modeling.
Nice.
And I write music.
Wow, cool. So you do full-time acting. Is the money pretty good?
So you can never really predict how much you're going to make per month, because a lot of the acting gigs I get, it would be like last second. So my schedule is pretty chaotic.
Okay.
You know, but it's ranging from at the moment like 2,500 to 4,000. But the goal is to make at least $10,000.
10,000. Okay, that'd be the goal. Are there some goals that you're trying to work towards, or I know you want to be an actress, but financial goals that will help you get there?
2 years ago, I saved up a bunch of money, and my plan was to make a down payment for a house.
Nice.
And then I was still waiting to save up more money, and then something happened, boom, the rates got up, and then I couldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still would like, to know more about how can I move towards that goal of buying a house and, investing in my retirement plan, and also to find out more how can I invest in stocks. Okay,
cool. So how much did you have saved? Or do you have that saved still? Was it burning a hole in your pocket?
Currently I have 10,000 saved.
Nice.
But I guess most of my expenses would go. Every year I'm trying to see my parents, and it's really pricey. It's like only for tickets it's $2,000, and when I'm coming home, like last year I was able to take my mom somewhere nice to travel to a different country, but right now I can't. But every year I'm trying to come there and take my parents somewhere nice, because I was growing up pretty poor. We didn't really see much things. So since I'm starting making money, the way they raised me, that I need to take care of them.
So how do they survive?
I mean, I help them out. I send them money.
Wow.
And any appliances they need, I send them as well. Yeah.
So you know how to work.
Yeah.
No problem getting work done and doing stuff like that. Okay.
I mean, even though I don't make right now, too much, but for example, I know we would like go to break down my expenses here. Yeah. So my rent, I rent 3-bedroom, and it's $1,500. It's
for all three?
In downtown.
Wow. How'd you do that?
I get lucky. It's a low-income apartment complex for mostly musicians and artists.
Wow.
And I have a roommate, and she pays a little more than me. So,
so is it
because lease could be only done on one person.
Okay.
And I still, take a risk, because you never know if the person is not on lease. So I would pay $650, and the other person $850.
Okay.
Other than that, I honestly,
you just pay $650.
Yeah, I don't have any other expenses. I paid off my car the first year I bought it. I was doing payments of like $1,500 every month.
Like extra to pay it off.
Yeah.
Dang. Wow. That's impressive. Do you have any other debt or anything?
No, nothing.
Wow. You are a rare person in the country.
Really?
To have nothing. I mean, car loans, student or credit cards. I mean, student loans. People rack that stuff up.
I mean, because I didn't study here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it would be different. I don't know. But I know here education is pretty expensive.
So no debt. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're already above like 99% of the country. You got money saved. So
I just wish that I had saved more.
So why don't you? Or so you're traveling.
Yeah, I mean, since I stopped working, my other job, I was a manager in downtown, and I had pretty consistent salary all the time. I all the time knew what to expect. It was like $6,000, and on top of that, I would do Uber. So I pretty much made like $9,000 a month.
Wow.
And I saved up a bunch, but then I stopped doing both of that.
Okay.
And completely switched to acting.
Just
so
overnight.
that was like really huge switch.
Do you have trouble like budgeting on an irregular income? I mean, you're bouncing.
I do have trouble with like music, because it's just so expensive. That's why I couldn't. I wasn't be able like to save up anything with like the money that I make right now. because I mean I would pay per song like at least in 2 months, $3,000, and that's like pretty much everything that I make. And then on top of that, I help parents. I mean, I spend money for food and some
my gosh.
rent.
So you think the lowest month for income is like 2,500, like the lowest it'll ever
Yeah.
get? Is that enough to cover expenses?
It's enough to cover pretty much everything.
Really?
Besides music.
Besides music, yeah. So
But I mean, like I said, rent is like $650.
wow.
And I don't have any debt or anything. Food is, I would say, $300. I only eat eggs and avocados.
Oh really? That's
And
a really good meal.
most recent, like I eat a lot of chicken salad.
Okay. So rent
So-
$650, food call it $300. Is that eating out and everything?
No, it's only like groceries.
Groceries.
And I do like to going out a lot with my friends as
Okay.
well, but most of the time it's just like brunch. So I mean, it's like average bill would be $60.
For you?
And if you do it like twice a week, I don't think that it's too much.
Okay. So
I
maybe
deserve it.
so maybe 500. Let's call it $500
Mm-hmm.
for food for the month.
Yeah.
So that's only 1,100. So what else do we got? I mean, you have car insurance.
Yeah.
That's probably like,
Like $60.
oh really? Nice. So what's your thing that you like to spend money on? Like there's
Clothes.
Okay, okay. What's a month look like for clothes? Oh.
Normally those items, like from one store, at least like 400, 500. But the thing is that it's consistently that I buy them, and most of my things, I have pretty much three room of clothes, and like
3 rooms of clothes?
Yeah, 200 pairs of shoes, and it's like I don't have anything to wear today. What should I do? And then it's like new trends coming out, and I
Yeah.
kind of like that, and I want to wear that. Honestly, should start like I would do a yard sale, but I don't have any yard, and it's not like I can just put an ad like, "Hey, come to my apartment."
Well, do you ever use any of those apps or anything? Like Facebook Marketplace or...
Yeah, but it's so
Poshmark or
annoying.
something?
I have too much clothes to to steam every single piece, to put like little, sticker with the price. It just like
Could you take
sounds
it to
like
a boutique or something?
extreme time-consuming thing. If I take it like, for example, to Goodwill or like other vintage clothing stores, they would just like, the way it works, you bring a bag of things and they just give you like what, 50 or
20 bucks
100.
or something.
And it's like, I spend way more on that and I don't want to sell it. So I'd rather have it.
So you don't want to sell it anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, would want to sell half of the things, but it just probably would take me like 2 weeks to, to put little like things with price on it, and it
I
would
mean, how
like.
much are we talking? You think like an item would be like $20, $100?
I mean, I'd
50 bucks?
probably, nobody would want to buy like $100,
Yeah.
in Nashville. So it probably would be like 25.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on item. But
Yeah.
a lot of my things that I bought, I've never even wore it.
So so clothing is your thing. That's I get it. I like.
I mean,
stuff
I
too.
just couldn't really buy, a lot of clothes when I was growing up in
Yeah.
Ukraine. We
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of money, so I'm just catching up.
Yeah, totally. So where do you think you're headed? I mean, we have the music, we have potentially home ownership. Is there one you're putting over the other, or are you trying to go towards them both? You mentioned retirement too.
I just want to hear more about retirement
Okay.
plan because recently some of my friends been talking about that, and honestly never even heard about it. I just kind of
Yeah.
thought that it maybe goes from our taxes to our retirement plan. I never really thought about
Okay.
that, so I would want to know more about.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of compound interest?
No.
You're about to learn something really cool. So, yeah, I mean, basically, the way it's set up here, you put money aside, maybe 10, 15, 20%. Different people suggest
From like
different amounts.
every salary or
Every
something?
paycheck, or anything you make, really. So if you make 2,500, put 15%. If you
Is
make
it like a
4,000.
spare account or something?
Yeah, so you would open. There's a bunch of different terms. I won't hit you with them too fast because they're just not that interesting. But basically, the basic concept is you invest a little bit, and then you let it grow for 30, 40 years, and it turns into
Isn't like
millions
the
of
same with
dollars.
a stock?
similar. So there's individual stocks, and there's something called mutual funds, which is just a bunch of different stocks in one fund. And so single stocks are pretty risky. You know, you either go all the way up or go all the way down. But if
So
you
just like, little here, little there.
well, I would say if you consistently save for 30 years, you'll be multimillionaire easily. Like people don't realize how easy it is to become a millionaire because you don't know. I mean, we're not really
So you
taught
mean
this.
when you keep adding all that money to your like retirement plan account, and then over the years the percentage of that is growing?
Yeah.
So it's not just stays?
Yeah, so the actual money that you put in compared to the amount of growth that you have is astronomical. So over the course of 30 years, you might only put in a couple $100,000 because, you know, 15% of your income, let's say you make $100,000, that's only $15,000 a year. So you do that over 30 years, it's not that much money.
Right.
But if it grows on average 10% a year, which is what the stock market averages, that $15,000 a year, or $15,000 a year over 30 years is going to be, like I said, $3-4 million because of something called compound interest. So basically, you have $100, it grows 10%, you have $110.
Okay.
And $110 grows by 10%, you have like $121. So you're starting to get interest on interest. 10% grows on 10%, grows on 10%. And basically, there's this thing called the rule of sevens that says if the market's growing at 10%, every 7 years your money doubles. So $10,000 becomes 20, becomes 40, becomes 80, becomes 160, becomes 320, and before you know it, you get millions of dollars. And that's if you don't even add anything to that $10,000. So they call...
Is that something you do?
No, it's actually not something I do. So there's professionals that do it. I actually work with a professional, but the core concept is very basic. And you would work with a professional who would just say, "This is what we recommend you invest in," and you work with them to do it. So there's a 401k you've probably heard of. If you have a full-time employer, they would offer a 401k. So you probably don't have that option, but there's an individual retirement account, which is just an IRA. You can open that up. I'd want to look into your eligibility as far as the green card and still
Right.
looking for your full
Citizenship.
citizenship. I think that you still can, but either way, when do you expect to have that?
If everything worked out great and I passed, an exam
Yeah.
and stuff, then like in 2 years.
2 years. So I haven't even asked. Do you mind asking how old you are?
I'm gonna be actually tomorrow 31.
31. Wow, I'm gonna be 31 this year too.
No, really? When is your birthday?
Sorry, it's April.
April.
Yep. Yeah. So you have a ton of time. A ton of time to invest. That's good news. Yeah. I mean, retirement age here is 59 and a half. So that's when you can start to access these tax advantage accounts, basically. So
Yeah, you gotta be pretty consistent to like invest every single month from
Yeah.
your paycheck in your retirement plan,
That's-
and not like, oh, I have all this money, I should just like, take it and do something with it.
that is the secret to investment, is not picking the right stocks, having the right special secret. It's if you can invest every single month for 30 years, even just 15%, you will be a millionaire. It's mathematics. I mean, it's a plan that works every single time. But there's a few steps I would want to think about before we get there. So you mentioned you have 10K in the bank now. Basically, I
was gonna ask for like the savings account, is there like specific banks that like they put more interest
Yeah.
on your thing? Because Bank of America sucks.
You're probably getting like less than 1% right now.
Yeah.
So there's money market accounts or high yield savings accounts. I can easily show you one or two of those. I mean, anytime that I plan to put money in an account that's just like an emergency fund, or maybe I'm saving for a car or something bigger, I will put it there. And you're going to get 4.5%
Nice.
for nothing, basically. As long as so basically the first recommendation I would make is to have an emergency fund. So if something happens,
Is it like a specific account you need to?
yeah, so like a high yield savings or a money market account, I can connect you with some accounts after today. But basically, you want to have a barrier of protection from you and a car breakdown, or a roommate moves and you can't afford as much rent, or something that's a true emergency, like maybe maybe you don't get a gig for a couple weeks or a month or so, and you have no income.
Yeah, but then can always like do Uber.
For sure. But maybe like you get in a car accident, you have to buy a new car. You don't have health insurance, you have to. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
I hope not.
But there's some emergencies that can happen that you can't prepare
Right.
for necessarily. So I would recommend like 6 months of expenses. So how much does it cost you to live? Like no clothes, no eating out. I need to pay rent, car insurance. I need to buy groceries. I need to pay utilities.
Man.
I think you're going to be pretty low.
100 or something.
Yeah, so you got $650 in rent. Let's call it $300 for food. We're not eating out in an
Yeah, but
emergency
it's like when I
situation.
don't spend on anything else.
Well, think about
It's
it like
hard to
this.
imagine.
It's an emergency. Like you've lost all ability to work. You just need money. This is a true. I have no options except to spend some of this emergency fund money, and it gives you protection and it gives you safety. And God forbid anything happens where you can't work. Maybe you get injured and you can't drive Uber. So it's just a protect me from life fund, basically, emergency fund. So let's say $1,000 between rent and food. You got 60 in car insurance. What do you think you pay for utilities? Probably
Like 100.
$100.
Yeah.
So you could probably live on like $1,300 if you like had
It's called
to.
more like a survival.
Yeah, no, this is like survival. I just need to get through until I find a new job
right.
or whatever it is. So
I feel like that's pretty low.
that's pretty low. But again, this is not.
But also, I don't have like a family or kids.
Yeah. So it's going to be different if you have a higher mortgage or more liabilities like children or things like
Right.
that. So you can be really safe and say $1,500 a month is what I can bare bones live on. So if I had to survive for 6 months with no income, $7,500, which you already have, so not a big deal. Did I do the math right? I don't think I did. Let's just double check. I'm sorry, $9,000. Which again, you still have. So if you put $9,000 in this high yield savings account, it's going to make a little bit of money. Maybe $80 to $100 a month for free.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you're
So
making
far,
nothing
I'm
now.
just like making 45 cents, which is pretty ridiculous.
We're going to do better than that. So you put that aside. But this is like, you want to keep this in a place that's not super accessible. Like it's not connected to your debit card or your
Right.
checking account where you can say,
Like where?
yeah, like, oh, I see this really nice item.
Right.
I'm just going to pull
That
$1,000
happens
from
with
it.
me.
But even with your travel, like I wouldn't use this to go visit your parents and to
Well, yeah.
to travel them around having fun. But you can just put other savings into your high yield savings account and say, I'm going to save this for the next year with the intent that I can go take my family and do things. But this is this money I don't touch unless I absolutely have to. So I would do that, $9,000. That's pretty easy. And then I would start looking at investing for retirement. That's sort of the next step to being really financially fit. So
Yeah.
I would do 15%, and I would work with a.
What do you think is like the minimum of that you can put? Is it
Oh,
like,
I mean, anything. If you can start, but I would say 15% of your income. So the goal is to match what your lifestyle is right now, which again will probably change. But if you can at least invest 15% of that income, that will be around what you are in 30 years. Now, income's going to go up. You're probably going to make more money. Things are going to look different over the next 30 years. But for right now, it's a great place to start, 15%. And I can connect you with some professionals. But I mean,
yeah, that would be great.
basically, like I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy who was not very good with money, who got together with my wife and said, we need to fix our money and we just need to have a really basic plan. So this stuff that we're talking about, the point of this is not to make it super complicated. Like at the end of the day, you need to spend less than you make, save a little bit for retirement, and protect yourself from an emergency.
Right.
And you're already doing really well. So hear that. I mean, you might have a little bit of a spending thing going on, but you got 10K saved, you've got no debt.
I definitely was this last 2 months way better with me impulsively spending on clothes because I just like keep looking at what I already have.
Yeah.
All this clothes, come on, you can just wear that. It looks good.
Yeah, so you're already making great decisions in that way. But what I want to see for you is I want you to have a clear picture of where you're going and like what you want to do. So is it to buy a house in Nashville?
I mean, I really want that, but because like I don't have what do you call it? Like W-2. So it's
You're paid.
is this like a W-9 right now that I'm doing? Like
a 1099.
Self-employment?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1099.
Yeah, self-employed.
So I think unless I have a person who would be a co-signer.
And I think even because you don't have citizenship, it could be another layer of difficulty.
Right. Well, my other friends, they're from Ukraine. They built a house and they don't have citizenship either.
Well, did they pay for it in cash?
I guess.
They might have.
No, wait. No, they do mortgage payments every month.
So let's just assume that you're going to get citizenship and we don't have to worry about it. So with 1099, you do need to show 2 years of income.
Right, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So is it exactly 2, or could it be like 1 year?
It needs to be 2. Yeah. But I mean, if your citizenship is a little ways out and you want time to save, so I would say.
What would you say like I need for down payment?
I would recommend 10 to 20%. Have you looked at homes that you might like? Like, what do you think it costs? I mean, in Nashville.
I mean,
$400 or
the
$500?
cheapest from what I like would probably be like 500,000.
Okay. So let's just say we do 20%. So have you heard of PMI?
No.
It's the worst acronym known to man. It's private mortgage insurance. So if you buy a home.
Oh yeah. I think I've heard about it. So if it's less than 20%, that you need to pay that every month.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just extra money to insure the bank in case you can't make your payments.
Yeah,
and
that's actually pretty expensive too. It's like 1,000 or something.
I don't think it's that much. I think for a 500K home, it'd probably be like maybe 100 to 200. I don't quote me on that, but either way,
it's not too bad, but still,
it's money
that to pay every month.
It's money that does nothing for you. And you don't ever see it again. It goes to the bank. You're paying insurance for them. So I would not recommend it. You could do it if it's like a worst case scenario, but let's just say you put 20% down. So that's 100K.
Dang, that's a lot.
And also, by the time that you buy this house, you want to make sure that the payment is like less than 25% of your actual money that you're bringing home. So whenever we get to that point, we want to figure out what your income is. Like on the low end, it's probably going to be higher than it is today because it's going to be 2 years from now.
I feel like all the people that I know that are actually paying mortgage, that it's like normally more than 50% of their
50?
income. Yeah. That they pay
Does that scare you?
Kinda.
Yeah, I mean, man, if you make $4,000 and your payment's $2,000,
Right.
like you don't have any money to invest, you don't have any money to save. Hopefully you'd want to pay your mortgage off early because it sounds like you hate debt just as much as I do. So that gives you no margin to do have any kind of wiggle room. But like now, $650 a month for $2,500, like that's incredible. That's a really good ratio of rent to income because you probably have a lot of margin in your spending. You could probably save a little bit more, but that's okay. But the reason I want to get this goal on paper, let's say $100,000 to buy a home, put a down payment down, that gives you a number to reach towards. Like what does that take over the next 24 months, let's say? I'll tell you because I can't do that math in my head.
Yeah, me neither.
So if you wanted to save 100K in the next 2 years, you need to save about $4,200 a month. $4,200, sorry. So I don't want
$4,200 a month. That's
and I don't
a
want
lot.
to say that number just to scare you, but all that to say, like, now that you have this really clear goal in mind, you can start to see what does it take to get there. Like, what do I need to do with my income? What do I need to cut spending? What does it actually look like?
Or maybe I just need to look at a bit cheaper houses and then renovate it.
Yeah. Now that tells you, okay, maybe my price range is more like $350 instead of $500.
Right.
Or maybe I need to pick up a second job and make 6,000 instead of 4,000, or it just gives you a lot of visibility into what you're actually trying to do. But I love the goal. But I think between the down payment and investing, I would put those as the two big things that you're working towards right now. I want to give you a time to maybe ask a question, or if there's anything further that you wanted to talk about, or...
I feel like the most important questions I already asked.
Okay.
The only thing like that I would want to hear more information is about like stock market.
Okay.
And do you invest right now in stock market?
So,
do you ever do like day trading, or it's more?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm terrified. I'm extremely risk averse. So
Yeah.
my philosophy around investing is not sexy. It's not interesting. It's not exciting. It's, I'm going to invest 15%, like I said, for the rest of my life, basically. And probably not much more, definitely not any less. And I'm going to put it in mutual funds. The basic premise is we want to put our money in tax advantage accounts for later, for when we can't work anymore, or we don't want to work anymore, or someone won't hire us because we're old. All those different reasons that we might not be able to work. We have this nest egg.
So what if it's an emergency and you really need to withdraw that? Is there like any legal procedure that you can go through to actually withdraw those funds?
Well, you have an emergency fund. I'll forget about that.
Okay.
So,
but what if I don't?
what if I spend it on a trip? So the emergency fund is to protect against that. So really, you can put as much as you want in an emergency fund. If you feel like 20K is the number, then put 20K in it. But the reason I would not take from a retirement account is for when you can, but you're going to pay penalties. So they penalize you for it. And then...
Is it like big percentage?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact numbers, but basically government doesn't like that. And not only that, but that 10K that you just borrowed from your 401k could have been $500,000 in 30 years because it's growing. But if you take away that potential for growth, it doesn't exist anymore. On top of the penalties, on top of the taxes that you're going to have to pay on it. So I would never recommend you do anything like that until you're of the retirement age. But what I would recommend is just saving money elsewhere in your high yield savings account, not having any debt. So your opportunity for emergencies are a lot less. Like for someone who has a car payment and a credit card and a student loan, they stop working, all of a sudden they're on the hook for $1,500 just in debt payments.
Right.
And then at that point, you're screwed if you don't have an emergency fund. Thankfully, that's not your situation, but...
God, I'm happy I don't have that.
It's huge, and you should celebrate the fact that you don't, because, again, you are in a small group of people in this country that doesn't have any debt, owns their car, doesn't owe a college for student loans. The whole world's ahead of you.
So what do you think the percentage of people that actually have a student loan?
The percentage in the country, I don't know exactly, but I know that the amount of money that people owe across the country is trillions. Like, it's an epidemic, basically. People can't afford anything. They can't afford to buy a home because they have these...
But wasn't it like Biden saying that he's going to forgive all the student loans? Do you think is that actually going to happen?
Well, they talked about it for a long time, and
because
it never happened.
I don't see nothing happening.
Yeah. I mean, they did a small one, but you had to have... There was a very small window of eligibility for it. It's like if... But
what I think about that people who got into student loan, they need to learn on their mistakes and pay their loan. Because
they signed it, right? They
exactly,
put their name on the line.
Like, you knew about this, just make money, be smart, and pay it off,
And that's
because if we're going to start forgiving all the debt, like,
I'm with you. You sign your name on the line, you owe the money, pay it back.
Right.
But, yeah, so that's what I think that's a good plan for you. Save and invest, and start budgeting.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a big poster in front of my bed so I can see it and have more clear vision.
Yeah, awesome.
And then send you a picture.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being willing to do this. And
sure.
It's been really fun.
This was really helpful.
Good. Awesome.